Tacitus was a Roman historian born and died in 56 AD to 120 AD. Although there is overwhelming evidence that the New Testament is an accurate and trustworthy historical document, many people are still reluctant to believe what it says unless there is also some independent non-biblical sources that corroborates its statements. So first I would like to relieve you of this matter and first look at the non-biblical sources of the existence of Jesus Christ. Let us first look at the evidence from Tacitus. Tacitus was a Roman historian and politician. Tacitus is considered to be one of the greatest Roman historians. Born 56 AD, died 120 AD. In his final work, Annals, Book 15, Chapter 44, before I laid the passage before you, the background is that the context of the passage is the six-day Great Fire of Rome that burned much of the city in AD 64 during the reign of Roman Emperor Nero. The passage is one of the earliest non-Christian references to the origins of Christianity. The execution of Christ described in the canonical Gospels and the presence and persecution of Christians in first century Rome. The passage reads, Nero fastened the guilt on a class hated for their abominations, called Christians by the populace Christus, from whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition. Thus checked for the moment again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but even in Rome. Here we have the Roman historian Tacitus clearly talking about the first source of Christians, from whom the name had its origins, Christus, which is Latin for Christ. Tacitus then goes on to explain that Christ suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of Pontius Pilate. Then Tacitus goes on to say that this Christian message that they were preaching broke out again not only in Judea, but even in Rome. For sake of argument, here we have Tacitus saying the early followers of Christ, stopped for a moment, then all of a sudden they started preaching once again. The Gospels tells us that when Jesus was crucified, the disciples and followers of Jesus hid from fear of the Jews. The Gospels also go on to tell us that after the crucifixion and death of Jesus, he was seen alive again, as the disciples even ate with him at the shore, etc. Then after his ascension, they went out as brave warriors and preached the resurrected Christ. So the Roman historian is perfectly in tune of what the New Testament tells us.